Well, hello friends and neighbors. John, your whiskey neighbor here, and welcome to my front deck or front porch. It is an incredible day. Weather-wise, this is really, really nice for the Edmonton area to be just light wind, nice sun. This is the kind of day that you really should be out on your deck. Today, I'm going to do another sample I got from Food Quig and compare it against a bottle that I've had on the shelf. Haven't had a lot of it, but this is going to be a tasting of two different Lohin McKinnon expressions. These are single malts Canadian whiskey from BC, Central City Brewing. So we're going to start by looking at Lohin McKinnon single malt whiskey. Hey, thanks for staying with me. As I said, today is the kind of day that I'm just thankful. I want to talk about another Canadian single malt. I think it was last time, or the time before, I talked about Glen Breton from the Glenora Distillery way over in Nova Scotia. Now I'm completely on the opposite side of the coast. This is from Vancouver, so this is now on the west coast. This is Central City Brewing Lohin McKinnon. I've had a few Lohin McKinnon expressions, and each one captures my interest. This is a single malt, so it's nothing but barley. It's 43%. It doesn't say, so sadly I have to assume it's colored and chill filtered. Now I've written them. They haven't got back to me, so I have to go with just information on their website, which says that this is aged in ex-bourbon, and without an age statement, I think this is pretty young. Let's see what we get out of the whiskey itself. Oh, and then I'll talk about, as I said, during this time, I'm trying to shoot a few more samples, and I have a sample bottle from Food Quig. Thank you, sir. You are a gentleman. You sent me a Lohin McKinnon tequila barrel finish. So it is basically this spirit, but then aged for an additional time, probably short, probably maybe 6 months, in ex-tequila barrels. So we'll see what we get when we get there. So first, let's talk about the whiskey, Canadian single malt, Lohin McKinnon. This is just their standard release. There's no peat. There's nothing strange about it. It's just straight up ex-bourbon as far as I could tell. Probably young. We'll see what we get. This nose for me is actually quite sweet with some decent fruit. I certainly wouldn't get apples or pears, right? Some of those orchard fruits. Almost sweet enough to be like a pineapple. I shared this, I think, with my wife the other day, and she thought like apple juice. She thought, that's all I'm getting out of this. So certainly it has a fair amount of sugar and sweetness to it, and definitely an apple or a light fruit character to it. I actually got some lemon in this. Some citrus, some lemon curd or tart. Lemon pie. Does burn a little bit when I stay in the nose, so there is still a fair amount of alcohol coming out. Let's see how it tastes. Cheers. A lot of flavor in here. Definitely more lemon for me. Quite expressive. Graham cracker, oat, cereal sugars. So a little bit of peppering going on, but that I think is from youth. Better take another quick sip. Bright. Juicy fruit. Finish is short. A little bit drying, which is nice. Mouth is also coating, also good. But the palate, for sure, if you didn't get singed in the nose, and especially the finish, you're going to know it's young. I'm thinking very young. I'm thinking, 3 to 4 years kind of young. And that comes across in two ways for me. One, of course, the ethanol or alcohol bloom. The next is a maltiness that's good, but really tastes close to distillate. When I've had just young distillate, definitely a cereal grain that's just coming from that. But for its youth, a lot of flavor. And I would say it's got structure. May as well pour this other one while I'm talking about it. So I would say it's the kind of dram that still stands out even in its youth. Sadly, it's priced too high around here. I think it sits on the shelf at about $65. To be honest, it's the same price as that Fiddler's, the Glen Breton Fiddler's release. And it's a lot of money to pay for a very young single malt. If I give this a star value, really can't get up off of maybe 3.5 stars. And that's generous because it's very young. But it has a lot of good flavor. And I like pouring this and I like drinking it because I can taste what I think it might be with more time. And even where it is, the flavors are on point. It's almost a complex dram for such a young expression. And in this case, when I say complex, I mean there are layers of flavor that I get at different points while I'm sipping, and the flavors do not contrast with each other. So that's a pretty high praise, but it's really awfully young. So now this is Lohin McKinnon from Foodquig. Thanks again, sir. Same single malt, same release, 43%, but now it's finished in ex-tequila barrels. So we'll see what that changes in the essential nature, because it's really exactly the same spirit. These noses are incredibly similar. Tiny bit more sweetness in the agave. Oh yeah, in that time for sure. Definitely a sweeter, higher sweeter corn syrup sweetness. Not quite corn, but a sugar sweetness. Definitely on the nose. Took a little while to get out. Now I am outside, but I very much the same backbone. See how it tastes. Cheers, Greg. It's a smoother spirit. Smooth in this case means I'm getting the coating without the biting. Immediately I actually don't get a lot of flavor. Instead it kind of just coats and goes down, getting some finish. Yeah. Again, a little more sugar. Reminds me of a rum finish, where that real sweet nature. Now I should be clearing my palate with some water. So this one is settling in, just in this tasting, to a fair amount of lemon, like lemon pie. So there's some sweetness. Even the more I use that analogy, I'm thinking lemon pie with meringue and graham cracker. And for me right now, that is this bottle for sure. The tequila finish is, yeah, a little greener nose. Yeah, a little herbal note in the nose. But in general, sweeter in the nose. really more coating, and at first, I don't mean blank, but there's less high points, so it's smoother, it's even, and then finishes with a drying sweet note. I know I've talked quite a bit, gone back and forth. I've had a few interruptions out here, but actually I'm glad to have them. It's kind of nice to see people out. But of these two, I do actually prefer just the standard single malt. As I said, it tends to be a little overpriced, but if you catch on a good deal like I did or a good sale, I would check it out. It is one of the better very young single malts I've had. If they would have put it in a very expressive first fill bourbon for another couple of years, release this at 6, 7 years, I think this would be an absolute winner. It clearly is put together in a place that's working very hard to create excellent distillate, nice fresh casking, because to taste this good at 3 years is a testament. But as I said, 3.5. To me, the tequila finish, because it's not what I'm looking for, it's really only about a 3-star. But I'm super glad I tasted it and really liked it in this comparison. As I've been saying at the end of all these videos, really I hope you guys are well. My family is still good. We're blessed. I'm still able to work mostly remote from home, but that keeps paying the bills, and I'm so thankful. I know so many out there don't have that. And I just want to say, and because, not specifically because, but, Food Quig, who is a taxi driver, gave this to me, and he rightfully called me out when I was thanking, the people that are moving us around, transport, buses, or goods, truckers. I didn't call out people that are still working as drivers, as taxi drivers, helping people get to where they need to in this time, and that's a tough job at any time, and now a risk with more exposure and contact with other people. So thank you, Food Quig, and all the taxi drivers that are bringing us home safe. You guys take care. Enjoy the rest of your week.